Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Prabhu? Looking fresh. You're looking fresh.
Thank you. Haircut, I think.
Haircut. Oh.
So I see lots of people. I see Bhadra Krishna Prabhu. I see Radhavinoda Prabhu. Hare Krishnas.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
I see Draupadi Devi Dasi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Rupanuga Prabhu.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. I also see Sunaina Kaur Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. How are you?
Good, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Very good. You already spoke Namata Mataji. Hare Krishna. I see Rani Mataji. I don't see, but I see the name. Is it possible just for a second you can turn your video on so we can... Okay, maybe not. We'll just wait a couple more minutes before we start. Hare Krishna, Radhika.
Hare Krishna. 1 second. Where is my...
Where's the video?
There you go. Haribol.
Don't see you. Hare Krishna.
Can you see me now?
I sent an email. How are you, Radhika? Shava Mohini, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, how are you?
Bhadra Krishna Prabhu. Bhadra Krishna Prabhu. Bhadra Krishna Prabhu.
Ji Prabhuji.
Can you please send the ID for this call to Nandapatni Mataji, Yashmadan?
I don't have the cell number.
No, just email it if you don't have the cell number.
Okay, I'll email it.
कभी email से आ रहा है? I see Rajan Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Rajan Prabhu.
Hari Bol Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Danu
How are
Pranam.
you?
Okay, Prabhu. Krishna's mercy.
There you go. Sushma Mata is there. Hare Krishna. And I see Shilpi there as well.
Prabhuji.
Where did she go? Oh, there she is. Yeah, big smile on her face. And I see iPhone, but I don't recognize.
Prabhu, that's Amrita Mataji.
I'm sorry?
Amrita.
Amrita Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yes, yes, of
Hare
course. Hare Krishna. And I see Sushma Mataji as well. Hare Bol. Okay, Ashok Krishna has joined as well.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
And Raj Prabhu is there as well.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. And I see Mary there. Hare Krishna, Mary.
Krishna Prabhu.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll get started, but for some reason I don't see clock on my screen, so I'm just going to get my cell phone just so I keep track of time. Just give me 1 second, please. Okay. All right. So what I'll do is I'll put the Pranami mantra on the screen, and then we can. Would somebody like to lead it today? I'm going to put it on. And is there anybody who'd like to lead this? Any volunteer?
Prabhu, shall I do?
Yes, please, Mataji, go ahead.
Namo Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine
Namo Vishnupadaya
Krishna Krishnaya
Naya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya
Namaste
Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya
Shri
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama
Hare Rama
Ram
Rama
Hare
Hare Hare
Vancha kalpatarubhyo kripa sindhubhyev cha
Titanam Paunebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
Namo Namah.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Ki Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Mother. Okay, so any questions from last week?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Gautam Prabhu, how are you? And Navneet Bhattaji, Hare Krishna. Any questions from last week? Anybody remember what we covered last week?
Ras Lila. Yeah, Prabhu, we discussed about Ras Lila. Only my question is that Krishna was 8 years at that time. Do we know the ages of gopis? We hope they were close to that age only.
Sorry, Prabhu, I didn't hear the question. What is
Yeah, I just said that when the Ras Lila took place, Krishna's age was 8 years.
Yeah.
So do we know the ages of the gopis?
They were anywhere from 5 years to 12, 13 years old.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Prabhu, one question just came from my mind. Like he mentioned in the last class that when that Maharaj Lila was happening, then the time froze for like 4.3 billion years. So was it only on Earth, or was it all the planetary systems, everything froze, meaning higher planetary systems also?
So, yeah, basically everything was as if normal.
Okay.
Last Leela, the time froze. That's the beauty.
Okay.
That's why it's so
Yeah,
inconceivable.
that's inconceivable how everything, like in 4.3 billion years, it's a huge time. Like it's Brahma's one day, it's so many yugas passed, but I could not conceive that on Earth,
Outside of that,
and then also on, yeah. Okay.
outside of that, everywhere else, it was like normal time.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Prabhuji, did Krishna ever showed spiritual sky to gopis or any of the Bridges residents?
Did Krishna show spiritual sky to the gopis?
Yeah.
He showed it to the gopas and asked them to take a dip in the pond. And then they saw Krishna being worshipped by all the demigods and everybody else. But other than that, only Mother Yashoda saw the universal form. Okay. All right. So is there anybody here who was not here last week? Just if yes, please introduce yourself.
Me.
Oh, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. My name is Vaini Kapoor and I am basically from Rajasthan, India.
Are you in Rajasthan today at this time?
No. Right now I'm in Toronto.
You're in Toronto. Okay, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And anybody else? Okay, I see all the familiar names. All right. So today, as I was saying, that we will cover the Damodar Lila. Actually, Damodar Lila happens in 2 parts. So if time permits, we'll cover both parts of this particular Lila. However, before I get into the Lila itself, I would like to ask you a question. And that is, why does Lord Krishna perform all these Leelas when it comes to the material world? Anyone?
To give us
What are the
pleasure.
reasons? I'm sorry?
To give pleasure to devotees.
Give pleasure to the devotees. Okay, what else?
So, Prabhu, in a Bhagavatam, I think the first sloka itself it mentioned the 6 questions the Rishis asked to them, and last one is to reclaim the lives, us back to Godhead, to reclaim us, jivas.
Yes. Anything else? Okay, so yeah, so I mean, I'm sorry?
To re-establish the religion, he comes, right?
I'm sorry?
To re-establish the religion.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, then when he knows that one day he will leave this planet and he will go back to Goloka. So after in his absence here on this earth planet, we will remember him by his pastimes. We will, by that way we will connect to him.
Correct.
By these leelas.
Correct. So does he do his pastimes only for the devotees?
No.
Right.
Every devotee, because he does, his pastimes are like a ras dancer plus killing of the demons, and so many are there, playing with the gopas. So they attract different class of people, different ages of people, different, theist, atheist, everybody.
Correct. Yes, Prabhupada.
As the sun shines on everyone, Krishna's mercy and pastimes are also for everyone.
Yes, of course. So very good answers. And so the point that I really wanted to get to from this discussion is that here we are listening to this Leela that we have probably heard at least 100 times, if not more. And we still keep hearing it. And as I said in my email earlier, that you would probably not hear anything tonight that you have not heard before. But still, we are all here and we're going to hear the Leela. So the reason is that the more we hear, the more attracted we become to Krishna, because his pastimes are so sweet. And every time we hear, unlike a mundane story, there's some freshness in the story, in the pastime. So we want to hear it again and again. We don't get tired. We don't say, Rupanuga, stop it. I've already heard it 101 times. And it's because the transcendental pleasure is still there, even though we've heard it many, many times. So, so that's one point I wanted to make. The second point is that what's a big deal about a mother chastising her son who was being naughty? I mean, kids get chastised every day. And probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of kids every day get chastised in some corner of the world. And I don't want to talk about this world, but we don't talk about them. Why do we keep talking about this particular love? What is so special about a mother chastising this particular boy? Yes, Aditi Mataji.
So Krishna is the Supreme Personality. Everyone is scared of Krishna, should be scared of Krishna. And here he's scared of Mother Yashoda, So that's very amazing actually. How come Krishna, who is the creator, maintainer of the whole universe, how he could be scared of Mother Yashoda? This is just a relationship he's sharing,
Right, right. So absolutely correct. Yeah, this is very special because we're talking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller, controller of all controllers, somebody of whom the fear itself is afraid. All the demons are afraid. And he becomes actually scared of a middle-aged woman who's got a stick that she's threatening to beat him with. That's very special, very special. And that's why we keep talking about this. Okay. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about a few pastimes within the same pastime to lead to the binding of Lord Krishna with the rope. I'm sure you all know the meaning of the word Damodar, but I'll ask you anyway. If one of you can please tell me, what is the meaning of the word Damodar?
Dam means rope and Udar means belly.
Okay. So Damodar means?
One who was
bound at the belly with a rope.
Right. Okay. So that's the pastime we're talking about. Damodar Lila. That's why it's called Damodar Lila. So what led to that is that that Krishna and his friends used to go and steal butter from the houses of different gopis. And of course, they loved it that he would come to their house, so much so that they would be upset if he went to neighbor's house and not to their house. But still, they wanted to find all sorts of excuses to see Krishna somehow. So they would from time to time go to his house on the pretext of complaining to his mother Yashoda about his stealing. So I'm going to talk to you about, describe to you rather, one particular episode where these gopis got together, 8 or 10 of them, and visited Mother Yashoda. It just so happened that she was sitting there with Krishna on her lap. So they went there and they said, Mother Yashoda, they used to call her Yashoda Maya. Maya means mother. So they said, Maya, your son Krishna really bothers us. So she said, what do you mean bothers you? What does he do? Why do you talk like that? And he said that, he'll come to our house and he'll untie the calves. So Mother Yashoda said, well, what's wrong with that? He's actually helping you. You are going to do that anyway, right? And they said, we accept he does it in an untimely way before it's time for them to be released and they can drink the milk of their mother. So by the time we get ready, they've drank all the milk and then there's nothing left to milk from the cows. So Mother Yashoda said, if that's the case, just stop him. He's just like he was 2-3 years old at that time. So she just stopped him. And they said, well, we tried. But every time we stop him, he starts laughing. So Mother Yashoda said, you yell at him. She said, well, you've tried that. Then he laughs even louder or harder. So Mother said, okay, fine. Just give him some barfi or laddu or gulab jamun or sandesh or something, and he'll go away. And they said, we tried that too, but he refuses. He only wants to eat the butter that he's stolen. So Mother says, well, something is not sounding right here. You just cowherd girls, you should not be thinking about that like that. You should not be speaking like that about the son of a king. I mean, that's what Krishna is. His father is the king of Braja. So you shouldn't be speaking like that. And they said, well, what can we do? He keeps coming and doing that. So she said, okay, in that case, why don't you hang the butter pot from the ceiling? And they said, we tried that too. But he takes a stool and stands on it and gets the pot out. She said, well, make it higher. And they said, we tried that too. Then he makes a ladder of the friends. One friend on top of another one, on top of another one, and he gets it and he breaks it down. But they said, can you not make it any higher? They said, we did that, but when it's too high, then he takes a stick and breaks the pot. And Mother said, well, and then they said, the funny thing is that he only breaks the pot that contains the butter. If there's other pots containing milk and all that, he doesn't touch them. So Mother said, well, that's not possible. How would he know? And I said, well, we don't know either, but somehow he knows which pot contains the butter. So Mother says, well, in that case, hide it in a dark corner of your house. And we tried that too. But his body and his ornaments are so effulgent. Wherever he goes, there's light. So there's no such thing as dark corner wherever he goes, so that he can see everything. So Mother was saying, that's really not making any sense here. And in the meantime, Krishna was sitting there looking very innocent. And they said, he's looking here, sitting so innocent. But when he goes to our house, not only does he steal the butter, not only does he steal the butter and feed it to his friends, but he invites the monkeys. And he feeds the monkeys as well. So Mother Yashoda said, well, how much can the monkeys eat? And the gopis said, well, not much. But what happens is when they don't eat enough, then he breaks the pot and then goes away. And Mother, it's not just that he breaks the pot and goes away. As he leaves, he tells his friends to pee all over the house. So they go to different rooms, different corners, and they pee all over. Mother said, well, really? Not only that. As he leaves the house, our babies are sleeping, he goes and pinches them, makes them cry, and then runs away. So there's no limit to his naughtiness. And Mother Yashoda said, well, you know what? I have a hard time believing what you're saying, So you know what? I don't believe your complaints. If you really want to complain next time, bring some proof. And don't come back if you don't have proof. So up until now, Krishna was sitting in the lap of Mother Yashoda, and smiling nicely, innocently, sweet smile. Suddenly he became very serious. I guess he got worried. So the gopis said, look at him. Now he's looking worried. But it's okay. And they started laughing and they left. And Mother Yashoda said, well, that's okay. You can leave now, but don't come back unless you have proof. I don't want to hear these complaints without any proof. And so they just laughed, smiled, and waved, and they left. And as they were leaving, Mother Yashoda yelled again, don't come back without a proof. And they went away. So they went home, and they had a Zoom call with all the gopis. The text messages were exchanged. They got together, and they said, we're going to set a trap for Krishna. So they said, we're going to hide, and when Krishna comes, we'll catch him. So sure enough, a couple of days later, Krishna showed up in one gopi's house, where actually they had planned to catch him. And as per the plan, he went, got the pot out, all the friends were there, the monkeys came, and he was distributing butter. The gopis felt that this was the right time to catch him, so they started running towards the room. Of course, there was some noise as they ran towards the room, so everybody started running out the window that was open, and they just jumped out. Monkeys, of course, they went first. But Krishna had one friend, his name is Madhumangal. He's very fat. And, he loves laddus, and that's why I guess he's very fat. So he tried to jump through the window also, but he got stuck. So now here he was, half out, half in. And the friends of Madhumangal, including Krishna, were trying to pull him out. But the gopis grabbed his feet and they tried to pull him in. So now you can imagine the scene that there's a boy stuck in the middle of the window and then he's being pulled out and in. Well, finally the gopis managed to pull him in. And they said, well, we were not able to catch your friends, but we caught you, so you're going to get punished. And they took him out the house to the courtyard where there was a tree. Madhumangal had long shikha, a piece of hair in the back. So they tied a rope to his shikha and threw the other end of the rope on the branch of the tree and grabbed the other end of the rope. So now you can imagine the scene. The shikha of Madhumangal is tied with the rope is on the branch, and they're pulling it from the other side. So as they pull the shikha goes up, and it hurts him, so he shouts, Krishna, help me, Krishna, help me. And then leave the rope, and pull again. And he said, Krishna, help me. So finally Krishna said, listen, our friend is in trouble, we have to help him. So they all came back. In the meantime, gopis were saying, we didn't catch Krishna, we caught his friend, we go take him to Yashoda Maya. But Krishna and his friends came back and they saw the scene and they said, what are you girls doing? So they said, well, we caught him and we're going to punish him. And they pulled the shikha again, very hard this time. And he says, Krishna, help me. And Krishna said, listen, you guys don't understand. This guy is a Brahmin. Brahmins have to be worshipped. And his shikha is very, very pure. And if you pull it, you get a lot of sinful reactions. So he done very sinful activity by pulling his shikha so many times. Now you have to pay for it. And they said, well, why do we have to pay and what do we have to pay? And Krishna said, well, to start with, you'll get married to old men. At that, they got all worried. And they said, well, so what's the process for purification? And Krishna's process is very simple. Just offer this Brahmin lots of laddus and he'll bless you and he'll be okay, and open his shikha. So quickly they brought all the laddus from the house, fed this boy, opened his shikha, and they went away laughing, and the gopis lost their chance to provide a proof. But they were not ready to give up. So they had another conference call. They made another plan to catch Krishna. This time it was a little bit better plan. So Krishna came with his friends and they actually caught him. So one gopi grabbed him by the hand and said, today we have the proof. You got butter on your face, you got butter on your hand, and we're going to catch you, take you like this to your mother. So, okay, so then they called all the gopis. So all the gopis went with this gopi who was holding Krishna's hand. And as Krishna was walking, going through different streets or lanes of Vrindavan, he started shouting his friends' names. Whoever house he passed by, he called his name. So they all came. So now there was a big party, many dozens of Krishna's friends, many dozens of gopis, all walking to Yashoda Maiya's house. They got there and they shouted Yashoda Maiya's name, Maiya, Maiya, come out. Yashoda Maiya, come out. We have the proof you wanted. So Yashoda Maiya came out, said, what is this noise going on? What are you guys doing? And they said, you wanted the proof? We have the proof. And Yashoda said, okay, show me the proof. Where's the proof? And the girl who was holding Krishna's hand, she brought the boy forward and said, here's the proof. And Yashoda Maiya looked at the boy and started laughing. So, these girls had long veils, so they couldn't see much. Now they pulled their veil up and they said, why are you laughing? Yashoda Maiya said, well, look at whom you brought. Is this your proof? She looked at the boy. Actually, she was holding the hand of her own son. Krishna had somehow exchanged himself with her son. So now they were embarrassed. And Yashoda Maiya was actually chastising them. Why do you give bad name to my son? I mean, we have 900,000 cows. He can have all the butter he wants. Why would he want to steal from your house? And our cows are so much better. And I don't know if you know, actually, out of the 900,000 cows, they had 1,000 special cows who got a special grass, which is very fragrant grass, and fruits and things like that. And then out of the 1,000, there were 100 cows who only drank the milk of these 1,000 cows and got the nice fragrant grass. Then there were 10 cows, and then there's one cow. And Krishna got the butter from that one cow. So Yashoda Maiya is saying that, why would he be interested in yours? You guys are just lying and out today. You've been caught in your own game. And like that she was going. In the meantime, Krishna came out of his bedroom, rubbing his eyes like he had been sleeping. And he said, Maiya, what is this noise going on? So Mother Yashoda turned around and said, these girls are accusing you of stealing butter. Why would you steal butter? Krishna said, yes, Mother, why would I steal butter? We have 900,000 cows. I get the best butter I want. I can have more butter than I can eat. Why would I go to their house? Yashoda Maiya said, well, that's what I'm saying. And Krishna said, Mother, these girls are liars. Yashoda Maiya said, yeah, you're right. They're liars. Krishna said, they lied to me. They lied to you. They even lied to their husbands. They're born liars. Don't believe them. And these girls were so angry, but they didn't know what to say or what to do. So they just looked at him angrily, and Krishna was just standing there looking serious, why they're lying. And they finally, in frustration, they left. About 10 minutes later, Krishna showed up at their house. They were still talking and figuring out what happened, how the exchange of the boys happened. That he showed up and he said, this was just a trailer for what's to come. If you ever do this again, next time you'll be holding the hand of your husband, not your son. So you want to try it? Go ahead. And they said, well, we accept defeat. We won't complain to your mother anymore. So then a few days went by and Diwali came. So Mother Yashoda gave time off to her servants and she got up early. By the way, because it was Diwali, the Nanda Maharaj and Lord Balaram and Mother Rohini had been invited to the house of one of the five brothers, four brothers of Nanda Maharaj. His name was Upananda. He's the oldest. So Mother Yashoda said, you know what? I'm going to prepare the butter for my son today, myself. Just make sure it's really nice butter. And that's the beginning of the Damodar Lila. I'm going to pause for a second and ask if anybody has any questions or comments before I carry on. Anybody?
When all this was happening, that Krishna so he's God or he has some.
So Namita Mata, you're breaking up. I can hear only second or third word.
Oh, okay. Can you hear now, Prabhu?
Yes,
Is it
much
clear?
better.
Okay. So when everything was happening like this, the Leelas, he was holding Krishna's hand, and all of a sudden his her son comes up. So they know that Krishna is a god at that time, and they know that he does all these magics and all. Or were they surprised with these things?
Yeah, so Krishna had made arrangements with his internal potency, Yogamaya, to make sure nobody realizes he's God. To them, he was just a little boy they loved more than themselves. So there was just a little boy for Krishna, for these girls. And then this whole pastime is about the same thing with Mother Yashoda, thinking that he's just my little boy. He's my lalla, as they say in Hindi, little boy. So no, they did not realize.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Sure.
Prabhu, yeah, Prabhu, what was Krishna's age at that time?
Around 3 years old. Yeah, one thing I should mention, and I'll talk in more detail about it when I talk about the Gopashtami another day, is that Krishna used to grow in size according to twice his age. So at 2.5, he looked like he was 5. At 5, he looked like he was 10. At 10, he looked like he was 15, not 20, 15. Okay, so he looked bigger than he was. Okay, all right, so let's get back to the pastime. So she decided to churn the butter. So she went to this place in one of the rooms where there was pots of yogurt, and set one up, and she started churning. So just imagine the scene. She's sitting there with her two hands. She's going like this with the churner. And she's wearing a lot of bangles. So you can imagine the sound that's going chun, chun from her bangles and from the butter being churned. So just imagine the sound, chun, 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 chun. So this was going on. And then she had written a song which consisted entirely of the pastimes of Krishna. So it was going something like, and when he was only 6 days old, he killed Putana, but he was so merciful. And then he was 3 months old, he killed Shakatasur. And then when he was a little bit older, he would grab the tail of the calves, and they'll drag him to the cow dung and the cow urine, and he'll be all messy, but he'll be having such a great time, and he'll come and hug me. Things like that. They made songs, and they'll be remembering his pastimes all the time. So even though she was right there, she had witnessed all these pastimes live, but she enjoyed remembering them, and she had made in a nice, wonderful song that she was singing as she was churning the butter. And from the time to time, she would look back in the room where Krishna was sleeping to make sure that he's still sleeping. Well, Krishna decided today was the day for another lovely pastime. So he got up. And you know how the kids wake up, rubbing their eyes and, yawning and raising their arms, stretching and all those kind of things. Krishna did all that. And he walked over to where Mother Yashoda was sitting. Mother Yashoda looked at him and said, equivalent of good morning. And then she got into her motherly mood. Have you ever seen a mother speak to her young 1-year-old or 2-year-old son or daughter? What happens? they suddenly started to talk like they're the child themselves. So you know how children speak with, in Hindi it's called totally, which basically means, you know, with a little bit of a lisp and with childlike manner. So she started talking like a child. Ale beta, kache ho beta, you know, kya kar rahe ho, which basically means how are you, what are you doing? But it sounds much better in Hindi. I cannot translate it in English. So anyway, she was talking like that. So Krishna smiled, and his point was, stop talking, I'm hungry. So she didn't get the hint, so he grabbed the churning rod and he looked at her. Then she understood. So she picked him up, put on her lap, and started feeding him her milk. Now something wonderful was happening. This is the same Krishna who drank the entire forest fire, not just once but twice. This is the same Krishna whose expansion, Lord Shiva, drank an ocean full of poison. He will have no difficulty drinking Niagara Falls water as it's flowing and taking it all in. He can drink millions of gallons of water per second with his mouth. But there he was having difficulty swallowing all the milk that was coming out of Mother Yashoda. So what was happening? Mother Yashoda was feeling this tremendous love for her son. And so much milk was coming out of her because of this love that it became too much even for the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. As a result, there was milk coming out of his mouth into her lap. But he was enjoying it so much, he was not going to give up. He kept on drinking it all. And Mother Yashoda was happy. She was still singing away and looking at him from time to time and churning the butter. Suddenly, she noticed that in the kitchen, on the stove, is milk. And the milk is about to boil over. So she said to Krishna, can you please give me a second? I will go and take the pot off the stove and I'll come back and continue to feed you. But Krishna was enjoying this love of his mother so much in the form of the milk that he did not want to leave. He did not want to take a break from drinking this wonderful, the tastiest milk in the world, simply because it was full of love of his mother. So he did not give up. So she said a few times, no, Krishna, you have to let me go, otherwise the milk is going to boil over. He didn't listen. So she forcibly picked him up and put him down on the floor, got up and started running to the kitchen. Srila Jiva Goswami describes that there was so much milk coming out of her body that whole blouse, whole sari was wet, as if she's gone to a shower. And as she was walking, there was so much milk falling on the floor, it was muddy. So she was carefully walking on this wet floor, it was wet from her milk. Anyway, finally she got to the stove. She took the milk, the pot off the stove and turned around to come back to where she was sitting and feeding her son. Now, there's a question that comes and I'd like you to answer this. And the question is, she loves Krishna so much. All her energies are focused on pleasing Krishna. Not because she thinks he's God, but because she knows he's my son. There's so much love in her heart for him. She had 900,000 cows, so you can imagine how much milk she had. Why was she so worried about this one pot full of milk that she had to run, put Krishna away, run to save the milk? Would anybody like to answer that?
Maybe is this the milk from the special cow which he was wanted to make butter for Krishna?
Nice try. Get so many social cows. Anybody else? Okay, I have my wife sitting here as well.
Prabhuji,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was saying, is it because the milk which was there at the stove, she was trying to make sweet for Krishna only?
Okay, so that's part of it, yes. She was trying to make, she was going to use that milk for Krishna's sweets. Actually, I'm sorry, I just want to say that my wife is here as well. She wants to answer the question, so go ahead.
So in Vrindavan,
Can you hear? Can you hear her?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Vrindavan, when it comes to Krishna's pastimes, everything is alive, even though it's milk or parvat or whatever. So the milk thought that Krishna is going to drink all the Yashoda Maiya's milk, so he's not going to eat my milk, so my life is wasted. So he started to jump up out of the pot. And Mother Yashoda went and thinking that, oh, this is the Krishna's special milk. So she went to save that. So the main point was the milk's thought process was that the milk, Krishna is not going to drink my milk, so my life is wasted, so I better die.
Okay, that's good. And the second point was, so why did Mother Yashoda give preference to the milk than to Krishna?
Because that milk was special and made just for Krishna.
Okay, all right. So did you hear the answer?
Yes.
Anybody else wants to add to that?
Yeah, Prabhu, it is something Diwali was there and special on that was to perform? Like, Sonam said the sweets, right? I'm just thinking.
Yeah, no, so I mean, her answer is correct. I'm just saying,
Right.
anything you want to add?
Just because it was supposed to be used in Krishna's service.
Yes. Yes, so that's exactly right. So all the answers are correct. So basically, the thought process is that anything that's going to be used in the service of Krishna actually becomes more important than Krishna himself. That's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. This is why Krishna says, my devotees are greater than me. Anything that's used in the service of Krishna is greater than me. So it's not inconsistent with what Krishna says himself. So therefore, the milk that was going to be used in the service of Krishna as the sweets that Sonam was saying was more important than Krishna himself. And the second thing is Krishna loves milk. So anything Krishna loves is very important to a devotee. So therefore, this milk was very important. And Mother Yashoda decided that she was going to save the milk, even at the cost of upsetting Krishna for a little while. Now, she didn't realize that she'll really upset him. She thought I was just a little kid. He'll, make a face and, maybe complain for a second and then he'll go back to drinking milk. But no, Krishna wanted something more. So what happened?
Prabhu,
yes.
Yeah, the question on that, in fact, Aditi Mataji is also there. So we were just talking and both things are there. Yashoda Maya was serving the Krishna, right? Feeding the Krishna. So directly at the same time, as you say, the milk paraphernalia is more important than directly serving Krishna. The paraphernalia, the sweets could have been made. So difficult to understand. One is directly serving, right? Yashoda Maya's feeding the milk to him and the sweet which comes secondary. Right? So why how you look at that paraphernalia is more important in this case?
Well, so that's what saying. Anything that's used in the service of Krishna becomes more important than Krishna himself. That's the philosophy. Similarly, anything that Krishna loves becomes more important than Krishna. Yeah, that is the philosophy, yes. It's not same as mundane philosophy. So that's why the confusion. But yeah, that's what it is. Okay.
One more
yes,
question.
go ahead.
Why Yashoda? Did Yashoda Maya also was she also thinking that this is was she in the Krishna consciousness, because she was a mother, right? So a Krishna consciousness, is it not mainly for the devotees we will use as Krishna's consciousness? Because motherly love is different and
yes, you made an excellent point. That is correct. But because we are trying to understand the pastime, so we talk about Krishna consciousness. But you're right, mother is not thinking, oh, God consciousness. She's thinking son consciousness. But we're trying to explain why she gave preference to the milk, even though she has so much milk, more than she can ever handle. If the pot spills, who cares? There's so many more pots. So that's what we were trying to understand. But you're correct. She had no Krishna consciousness. To her, it was just her lalla, her little boy.
Yeah.
Which is going to be illustrated very clearly in this pastime.
Okay.
Okay, Prabhu? Okay. So Krishna took this as an insult to him. And he actually got very angry. So it's described that he bit his lips and his face was red with anger. And he said, I got to do something about this. So some of you who are maybe a little bit closer to my age may have seen something called silbatta in India. It's a stone, a large slate of stone, and then this smaller piece of stone that you use to grind spices. So this is a good size and heavy stone. So Krishna picked it up and threw it at the pot that contained the yogurt from which that was there for making butter. So very quickly, the pot broke, all the yogurt spilled out, and then Krishna got scared, saying, oh, what have I done? And so he ran in fear. But not too much fear, because as he was running, he saw a pot of butter hanging from the ceiling of a room. So he went to that room first, got the pot out, and then went into his room. And in India, again, especially the older houses, they don't have locks like here. They have these chains. It's about 6 to 8 inches long, and it has links, and basically connect one door to the other door, and that's your lock. So if you push the two doors, you can actually see through it. So that was the chain he used, and he went there, sat beside his window, and started eating butter. In the meantime, Mother Yashoda came back, and she noticed no Krishna. She said, what happened? Where did he go? And before she can find anything else, she notices the whole pot is broken, and there is yogurt all over the floor. And she's saying, who did that? Well, Krishna's not here. And where did he go? Suddenly she sees these tiny little footsteps on the yogurt going towards his room. And suddenly they take a turn to the other room, come back, and go into his room. So she said, oh, I know what's going on. So she went to Krishna's room and tried to push the door open. So the slight slit. From that she could see this Krishna sitting on the window and enjoying the butter. So she got really angry and she said, what are you doing? When Krishna heard that, he jumped out the window and ran in the courtyard. And somewhere in the courtyard was a mortar. He went and sat on this. By the way, that mortar is still there today. So if you go to Vrindavan, you go to Mahavan, you see that mortar. Has anybody seen that? Oh, Sonam has seen it, okay?
Yes.
Oh, Namita Mata has seen it, okay. So 2 people. Great, so you know I'm not lying, I'm not making it up. So yes, it's still there. And I'd invite you to go there next time you get a chance and go take a look. The mortar to which Krishna was tied. So anyway, she went and sat on this. Some monkeys came and there he was feeding them. Mother Yashoda, in the meantime, she said, I'm going to have to teach him a lesson. This is too much. I hear these complaints all the time. And now he's done it in our own house. He has to be chastised. So on her way out, she saw the stick, she picked it up, and she ran towards Krishna. Now, Krishna was guilty already. So as he was feeding the monkeys, as he was eating it himself, he's looking all the 4 sides if anybody's coming. And from the corner of one eye, he saw Mother Yashoda running towards him. And she had a hand like this with a stick in her hand. And he got scared. He said, oh, Mother is really angry today. So he ran. He just took off. And the monkeys took off even faster than that. They all climbed up a tree, making all that sound that monkeys do. And there was Mother Yashoda chasing Krishna. Now, Mother Yashoda is like a middle-aged woman, a pretty heavy set. And Krishna is this 2-3 years old boy who can run fast. So there was Krishna being chased by this old woman. She had flowers in her hair. This was the tradition those days. It still is in some places. Anyway, so those flowers described, they fell on the ground. So I'm going to pause again and ask if anybody knows what's the significance of the flowers falling down. Anybody?
Because I can just try.
Please go ahead.
Because the flowers also wanted to, serve that purpose. Because on you had told us actually that this thing in the Bhagavatam class, I think, but I forgot. But I know that just that flowers wanted to serve this Leela. That's why.
Okay, fair enough. Avni, Aditi Mataji?
Flowers wanted to touch Yashoda mother's feet, who's so pious, and Krishna's mother, I think they wanted to serve Yashoda mother.
Yeah, so that's right. So they were basically offering their obeisances to the woman they knew is about to catch Krishna, who cannot be caught by anybody. Lord Shiva tries so hard, Lord Brahma tries so hard, demons have tried so hard. The famous story about Kali Yavan, nobody can catch Krishna. But this woman is going to catch him. So see, that the flowers felt that they need to offer their obeisances. This very special person who's about to catch the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who cannot be caught by anybody else. So that was the reason for them falling down at her feet. Anyway, so Krishna ran fast, but Yashoda ran faster. Then Krishna ran faster than her. She was about to catch him, but he kept going. And then suddenly Krishna said to himself, my mother never crosses the main gate. So the house, the courtyard, this main gate. So he said, she'll never cross the main gate. So if I make it to the main gate, I'll get out and she'll never catch me. So he ran faster towards that gate. Normally, Mother Yashoda would have stopped. She wouldn't go near the main gate. But today she said, I have to teach him a lesson. So she ran even harder. But she was getting so tired. She was panting like anything. She was sweating like anything. Her hair was scattered. And she was really out of breath. When Krishna turned around and saw that, he couldn't run anymore. And she grabbed him. She grabbed his hand. So with left hand, she grabbed his hand. In right hand, she still had the stick. Now, those of you who have heard the very famous Damodar Ashtakam, it says, Satanka Netram. It says Krishna had terror in his eyes. So my question to you is, was he acting to be terrorized, or was he actually terrorized at this time? Anybody? Yes, Aditi Mataji.
He was afraid because Yogmaya make him forget everything. So he was a child, and the child is always scared of mother's, scoldings. So he was really terrorized. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Krishna had ordered his own eternal potency, Yogmaya, to make him forget his God. Just like he made everybody else forget his God, despite all the evidence. So Krishna is described in Damodar Ashtakam that his body was trembling. His chest was heaving. And there was terror in his eyes after being caught by his mother. And he said to his mother, I'm going to say it in Hindi, then I'll translate this. He said, Maya mohe mariyo nahi. He said, Mother, please don't beat me. When Mother Yashoda saw that he really was so scared, she threw the stick away. And she sat him down. She was still very angry. And there was a dialogue. between Krishna and Mother Yashoda. And Mother Yashoda said, why did you steal the butter? Now, there's butter on his mouth, on his face. There's butter in his hand. So he turns his face this way. He says, no, I didn't. No, I didn't steal the butter. I didn't eat the butter. There's no butter. So she turns his face back towards her. There's no butter? She says, no butter, no butter. So, okay. So tell me, who broke the pot? Who broke the pot? How did it break? And Krishna says, Mother, God punished the pot because it was not behaving. So God broke it. Well, Krishna wasn't lying, but he wasn't telling exactly the truth either. So then Mother Yashoda said, okay, who's feeding the monkey? Who fed the monkeys? And Krishna said, the creator of the monkeys fed the monkeys. So again, he's not lying, but he's not telling the truth either. So Mother Yashoda started laughing. She was still angry. But she said, okay, tell me the truth. Really, tell me the truth. How did the pot break? So Krishna said, very innocently, very innocent face, looked at her straight into her eyes. Said, Maya, you know what? You won't believe what happened. She said, what happened? And he said, as you were running towards the pot, you were in such a hurry, you didn't realize you kicked the pot yourself. And you kept running, but the pot broke. So Mother said, this boy, what do I do with him? So she said, well, then why did you run? He said, I was so scared when I saw the stick. So for no reason, Mother, I saw the stick and I got scared and I started running. I'm not guilty at all. Whatever you think, but I'm not guilty. So the Mother said, you are the king. You're the son of a king, the king of Braja. But you're talking and acting like a monkey. And you're associating with the monkeys. And Krishna said, yes, Mother, you're right. I am going to become a monkey. And you know what? I'm going to run to the forest, live with the monkeys. Now it was Yashoda's turn to be scared. She actually believed him. She said, he's capable of doing anything. He could actually run away. What am I going to do if he runs away? So I better tie him down with something. So then she decided, let's go to tie him down. And the mortar was the nearest thing. Mortar is very heavy, by the way, very, very heavy. So I'll tie him with this and then he can't run anywhere. So she dragged him to the mortar and actually took out a ribbon from her hair and tried to tie Krishna's belly with the ribbon. It's a pretty long ribbon, maybe 4 feet long or something like that. But the ribbon was, how short? How many fingers short? 2 fingers short, yes. So she said, okay, no problem. She took out another ribbon, tied it together. Now it's 8 feet. Put it around her belly, his belly. 2 finger lengths with still short. In the meantime, Krishna was yelling, oh, Mother, what are you doing? Mother, why are you punishing me? I haven't done anything. I'm so innocent. Why are you punishing me? So other gopis heard that. So all those gopis who had come that day to complain, and Mother Yashoda wanted the proof, they came, they watched what's going on. They asked her what happened. And when Mother Yashoda told them, they started laughing at Mother Yashoda. Ha, ha, ha. You were not believing when we told you he's stealing. Now he's told from your own house. Now you believe us. And they were taunting Mother Yashoda like that, who was just trying more and more ropes together. So all these gopis ran back to their houses. They brought dozens of ropes and threw it at Mother Yashoda. I said, use these ropes. And one after other, Mother Yashoda tied them all, literally hundreds of ropes. But no matter how many ropes she used, there's still what? 2 fingers was too short. Now the girls were really laughing at Mother Yashoda. She was getting totally frustrated. She was sweating and she started crying. But she wasn't going to let go. She still kept trying. So she was trying and crying, crying and crying, crying and crying, crying and crying. And then Lord Krishna said, it's too much for me. My mother is crying. She's embarrassed. Other girls are making fun of her. Too much for me. So he agreed to be tied down. And all it took was the very first ribbon that she had taken out of her hair. She was allowed to tie him. And then she took the other end of the ribbon, tied to a rope, tied the rope to the mortar. She said to Krishna, just sit here, don't you dare move. I've got other work to do, I'm going inside the house. And she left. Other gopis also left, they had their fun, they went to take care of their business. In the meantime, all these friends of Krishna had gathered together, they were watching the whole thing. And Krishna said to them, you know, all these girls who are having so much fun, none of them is at their home now. So I want you to go to their house, steal some butter, bring it here. We'll have a butter party. So sure enough, they all went to their houses. There was nobody there. They brought the butter in pots, put it in front of Krishna, and everybody had a great butter party. So this was going on. And that's why Krishna is called Damodar, whose belly was tied with the rope. Now begins the second part. But before I go to the second part, I'll pause and see if there are any comments or questions from anyone.
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu, I
Rukmini.
have a question.
Go ahead, beta.
Prabhuji, as you said that the Krishna's paraphernalia are more important than Krishna, then can we consider, like, if we are ignoring Krishna and giving more importance to his paraphernalia, so it can be considered an offense towards Krishna, like we are offending Krishna?
Very good question. So I always say, what is your mood? If your mood is that, you know, I heard that in the class, therefore I'm going to ignore Krishna and give more importance to the paraphernalia, I'll polish it more, I'll wash it more, but I won't offer anything to Krishna. Well, that's wrong mood, right? So basically, this is why we're not supposed to imitate, we're supposed to follow. So follow means, what's the message? The message is that paraphernalia is very important. As a matter of fact, when you talk about paraphernalia, if you're talking about, for example, paraphernalia for Arti or Bhoga, they're all expansions of Lord Balaram. They're very respectable anyway. So we have to pay due respect to all the paraphernalia because they're Lord Balaram. But the point here is that if there's an opportunity, there's a reason, then you give this preference. Otherwise, they're both very respectable. You don't ignore either one. Don't insult either one. We are subordinate to both of them. And we are so low. We can't even think about this is higher than the other. I mean, they are both very, very high. So we have to be respectful and loving and careful with both of them. We don't draw comparison. Mother Yashoda can do that. We cannot do that. Okay, and I'm glad you asked this question because it's very important we understand that. Okay, did I answer your question though?
Yes, Prabhu. I have one more question. Like in this case, it was not Mother Yashoda's offense towards Krishna, like in this Leela, in this pastime.
Well, Krishna was offended. That's why he broke the pot.
Okay.
But this was not the offense that you and I make.
Yes.
This was done totally out of affection. There's so much love, so much affection that very same Krishna, few minutes later, agreed to be bound by the same person who he had been offended by, right? So this was different kind of offense. When the mother chastises with so much love, there's no offense. Okay, the offense was for the sake of pastime only. Okay. But once again, we should not try that. We should not try to chastise Krishna. We should not try to throw Krishna out of our lap, things like that. You have to be very careful. This is to be understood, not imitated. Okay, that goes for any pastime of Krishna. That's why it says, follow in the footsteps of, do not imitate. Don't pick up the stick and show it to Krishna and say, your turn to get beat up. That will be a huge offense. We'll never recover from that. Mother Yashoda can do that. We cannot. Okay? This is making sense?
Yes, yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right. Any other questions or comments? Okay. So then what happened was,
Prabhuji, I wanted to ask something.
go
But
ahead.
it's exactly not a question, but I was just thinking that when Mother Yashoda was in direct association with Krishna, and then she left him there and she went for something else, and he got offended. But I think in our case, I do it every day. Whenever we are chanting, it's a direct association. And every time the phone rings or the doorbell rings, or even if nothing
or a text
rings,
comes on the cell phone.
yeah. So we'll just my attention at least is immediately diverted. So how would Krishna be feeling at that time?
Well, he doesn't like it. That's why it's called offensive stage. But we are all going through that. And the only solution is we keep practicing. We know what we have to do. That's better of executing it. And that will come with practice. Practice devotee association, reading the books of Prabhupada, the scriptures, serving Krishna, serving Krishna's devotees. Those are the processes. And we have to keep at it very patiently and wait for our turn to be purified.
But this is for sure that he doesn't like it and he gets offended.
Of course. I mean, just imagine he's sitting with you, you're ignoring him completely.
Yeah.
Imagine you come to my house and I put the TV on and don't talk to you at all. How would you feel? That's what we are doing to Krishna. Right? Okay. So, as he was sitting there enjoying the butter party, Krishna suddenly noticed, not suddenly, but he noticed the 2 trees in the courtyard. They had been there for thousands of years. And Krishna remembered the curse of Narad Muni on 2 sons of Kuvera. Everybody knows who Kuvera is? Somebody please say, who's Kuvera?
Lord, the wealthiest person. Sorry.
Sorry?
He's Raman. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Treasurer of Devatas.
Yes, treasurer of the demigods. Yes. So, very rich person. So, his sons were spoiled. And 2 of his sons, Nal Kuvar and Manigriv, they were really spoiled. So, one time they were drunk out of their minds and bathing in a lake with a bunch of women, not wearing any clothes. Nobody was wearing any clothes. Narad Muni happened to pass by. When the girls saw him, they were embarrassed and tried to cover themselves. But these 2 guys were so drunk, they didn't even bother. They were just standing there laughing like fools. So Narad Muni said, you enjoy exposing yourself like this, so I'm going to curse you. You'll expose yourself for thousands of years. You go become a tree or trees, 1 each. When they heard the curse, they very quickly became sober and they apologized and they asked for some kind of a remedy or excuse. So Narad Muni said, well, I cannot take my curse away, but I will bless you that in Dwapar, when Krishna appears, he will deliver you. So they became trees, 2 trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. And they were so fortunate that they observed every childhood pastime of Krishna that happened in that place. The first 3 years and 4 months, Krishna stayed in Mahavan or Gokul. So they witnessed all the pastimes for the first 3 months and 4 months. 3 years and 4 months. Anyway, so Krishna saw them and remembered that pastime. And he said, it's time to deliver these 2 people. But he felt that if he starts to crawl towards the trees, my friends will make noises. So started to distract them, and every few seconds he'll jump up, 1 foot. And slowly he inched himself towards the trees without the boys realizing what was going on. They were just busy playing, and he went across from in between the two trees. So now imagine the scene that these two trees, in the middle is Krishna crawling away. He crawls away, but the mortar gets stuck between the two trees. Now what's tying Krishna down? The ribbon in the hair of Mother Yashoda. So with that he yanked at the ribbon. And the two huge trees, they were huge. They came crashing down. And from them out came two personalities, very effulgent, well-dressed, great ornaments, 4 arms, with big crown on their head and all those kind of things. They offered their prayers, they circumambulated Krishna, and they went up. In the meantime, the falling of these trees made a great, huge uproar, a roar rather, very loud noise. The entire village of Mathura and Vrindavan heard that, and most people fainted. And they all thought some demon had come to attack. Nanda Maharaj was on his way from his brother's house with Balram and other people, and they ran to see what's going on. They finally reached this place. They saw these two huge trees fallen down, and Krishna sitting there in the middle, just smiling away. Except when Krishna saw Nanda Maharaj, his father, he acted very scared and started crying very loudly. And raised his arms like, pick me up. So Nanda Maharaj quickly untied him, picked him up, and asked the boys what happened, what demon came. And the boys said, no demon. Krishna was tied to the mortar. He crawled across between the two trees. He yanked at the ribbon. The trees crashed. 2 men came out. They did something and they said something to Krishna. They went around him 4 times and they went up. Well, how much of that do you think Nanda Maharaj believed? None of it. You boys, you just make up stories all the time. Tell us really what happened, what demon came. Was there a wind? Was there a storm? We didn't see anything. We didn't experience anything. The boy said, no, Baba, no. This is what happened. So now I said, okay, no use asking them. He said, who tied? Who tied Krishna? So they said, well, Mother Yashoda did. No, sorry, Krishna said, Maya did. My mother did. So Nanda Maharaj said, okay, I don't know what to say to her. So he started walking away towards his court. In the meantime, Lord Balram showed up. He heard the whole story and he was angry. He was so angry. He went running to Mother Yashoda. He put his hands around his waist. In a very angry tone, he said, who tied Krishna? Mother Yashoda did not like his tone. So she said, I did. Why? What's your problem? And Lord Balram said, don't you know who Krishna is? Yashoda said, no, you tell me. Balram said, he's God. Mother Yashoda said, yeah, he's God. And who are you? Balram said, well, I'm God too. And Mother Yashoda just laughed. She said, all the gods had to be born in my family. Get out of here before I tied you down. And he just ran. He was so scared. He ran away as well. In the meantime, Nanda Maharaj fed butter and mishri. There's something called mishri, which is sweet sugar candy, really, to Krishna and pacified him. And that was the pastime that happened. It's called Yamalarjun Moksha, which means the delivering or deliverance of the two trees, famously known as Yamalarjun. So before I go further, it's 9:17, 9:18. I'm going to stop and see if there are any questions or comments before we get into the lessons and a little bit more pastime.
Prabhuji, can I just add something?
Yes, please do. Yeah.
So I also heard somewhere that when Nand Maharaj took Krishna in his lap and he was feeding him, Krishna was complaining to him about Mother Yashoda, and then he was saying that, you know, I will always be with you. I'm never going to go to her, and she's bad, and I'm going. When you go to the forest, I will go with you. I'm not going to stay with her. And then when Nand Baba proposed that, you know, he will punish Mother Yashoda, and he immediately said, no, she's my Maya, don't punish her. So that is what I had.
That's right. That's from Gopal Champu. Yeah, I was going to cover that later on, but yeah, that's right. It's correct. That pastime did happen. And actually, there's a little bit more, so I may as well complete it. So when he went, Nanda Maharaj was informed that Mother Yashoda has not eaten all day. She's feeling so bad. She's crying, just sitting there crying. So Nanda Maharaj sent different people to Yashoda to please eat, everything's fine now. But she would not eat, she just kept crying. So then Nanda Maharaj said to Krishna, you should go and tell your mother to eat, and you should eat with her. And he said, no, I'm angry, I'm not going to go, I'm never going to talk to her. And Nanda Maharaj said, well, but she's hungry, she's not eaten all day. And Krishna said, well, good for her. You know, why did she do something like this? Why did she tie me down? So then Nanda Maharaj called Rohini Mataji and said, you take him and to Yashoda, and then everything would be fine. So she tried and he refused. So then Lord Balaram was called that you take him. Now Krishna never says no to Balaram. So when Krishna said, let's go, he got up. He got off the lap of Nanda Maharaj. He started walking towards the room where Yashoda was there. But halfway through, he ran back. He said, I'm not going. And then Nanda Maharaj said what Sonam was saying, that, okay, do you want me to punish her? I said, yes. And so then Maharaj said, should I slap her? And Krishna said, yes. And then Maharaj said, well, she might die if I do that. And that scared Krishna so much. He put his arms around Nanda Maharaj. No, don't do that. And he ran, jumped off his lap, ran to Mother Yashoda, put his arms around her, and they both cried for a while. And then they sat down, and then they fed each other. That's the rest of the pastime. Okay, any questions? Comments? I'm sorry?
Prabhuji?
Yes.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is there any significance of that rope is less by 2 fingers?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. So anybody wants to answer that? What is the significance of no matter how many ropes she used, it's always 2 finger with 2 short? What is the significance of that? Anyone?
Endurance of the devotees and mercy of the Lord.
Correct. So 1 finger represents the endeavor of the devotee, and the 2nd finger represents the mercy of the Lord. So what that means is that if we want to get Krishna, if we want to get Krishna's love, if we want to get Krishna's devotion, then we must endeavor. We must practice, act, try until we succeed. So that has to be there. We cannot simply sit back and say, when Krishna wants, it will happen. But at the same time, endeavor alone is not enough. We can chant all we want. We can do deity worship all we want. We can attend Zoom sessions as many as we want. We can read books as much as we want. But we will not get devotional service until we receive Krishna's mercy. Either Krishna's mercy or the mercy of the devotees of Krishna. So those 2 things are very important in our devotional life. We must try hard, we must endeavor hard, 24/7 if possible, apratihata. But we still have to be begging for Krishna's mercy all the time, or Krishna's devotees' mercy. Without that, we simply cannot get devotional service. no matter who we are and no matter what we do, no matter how hard we try. Those two things are critical for getting Krishna.
Can I add something, Prabhu?
Please do, yes.
We heard in a lecture, I think it was a couple of days back, and the Prabhuji was talking about the Guru's mercy. And
Yes.
he mentioned that when we are in Krishna consciousness and we have a Guru, and sometimes or most of the times we think, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but that is actually not the fact. He says that whatever we are doing, it is just because of Guru's mercy that we are able to do that. Otherwise, we have no capability or capacity to do anything. So,
Correct.
devotee's mercy or Guru's mercy is very necessary, and whatever we do is just because of that.
Correct. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Yes, very important. We cannot survive without that. Definitely cannot make progress without that. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay, then let's talk about what are the lessons from this pastime. Anybody wants to share any lesson you have learned from this pastime?
Prabhuji, I have heard about the importance of congregational chanting, some kirtana. Indra Prabhu says that when Mother Yashoda was trying to do it alone, she did not get the mercy till the time she did not call her friends and engage them also in the service, and then they all got the mercy. So that is what he says, that this is the importance of Sankirtana. That's what Lord Chaitanya wanted all of us to do.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? What are the lessons? Nobody learned anything from this pastime? Okay, we talked about one, which was that when a devotee has surrendered their body, their home, their family, everything, then to them, what's used in the service of Krishna becomes more important than Krishna himself. We talked about that already, the example of the milk.
Prabhuji, I have one.
The devotees love to serve Krishna regardless of what their own position is. I mean, what was Yashoda's position? She was a queen. Right? She was a queen, but she was not delegating the task of serving Krishna to the servants. She said, no, I'll do it myself. I have to apologize. My battery is going to run out, so I'm going to run and get the charger. I'm very sorry. I'll be back in a second. No, actually it's here, but it's not plugged in. Sorry. Hold on. Okay, I'm fine now. So I forgot to plug it in. Okay, so that's second one, which is devotees like to serve Krishna themselves rather than delegate. So, so many times we hear from our friends, oh, you go to the temple, please offer my obeisances also. Right? Has that happened to you? Do your friends do that?
Yes.
Well, it doesn't work. I can't chant for you. I can't offer obeisances for you. I can't donate something for you. I can't do some service for you. It's all individual, one-on-one. Cannot be delegated. Okay? So that's the second point. The third point is that the love of Krishna in the heart of the devotees of Krishna makes them blind to the godness of Krishna. Should I repeat that? The love for Krishna in the heart of the devotees of Krishna makes them blind to the godness of Krishna.
Yep.
They refuse to believe he's God. The residents of Vrindavan, they saw Krishna killing Putana, Trinavan, Shaktasur, Bakasur, all those demons. But to them, they were still their Lalla, their little boy, their friend, their lover, but not God. Krishna was never God. Otherwise, Mother Yashoda would not be picking up the stick and threatening him. She had absolutely no reservation about chastising him. And she actually felt in her heart, if she did not bathe him, if she did not feed him, if she did not clothe him, Krishna will die. In her heart, Krishna was fully dependent upon him or her for his survival. This is a supreme personality of God, the maintainer, supreme maintainer of all the worlds, the supreme proprietor of everything that exists. She felt he depended upon her for food, for shelter, for clothes, etc., etc. That's the pure love of the devotee in his heart. So we see the example of Yashoda and Krishna in this particular Leela that was happening. And in that love, the devotee is able to catch that Krishna who cannot be caught by Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, all the demons, all the other personalities. Similarly, there is no other process by which we can catch Krishna except devotional service, except love in the heart. No mechanical process, no chemical process, no physical process can help us catch him. Only the love for him can help us catch him. And we talked about the two fingers, so that's very important. And as I said, we finished this whole thing about the pastime of Krishna delivering the two trees, or the two people. Now, what was Krishna's situation in the mundane sense? What was Krishna's situation at that time? He was tied himself. He was tied down. So even in a tied down condition, Krishna can liberate other people. That's Krishna. By the way, is anybody curious what happened to these two people after they offered their prayers and left, Nal Kuvar and Manigriv? Anybody knows, or anybody curious?
They became Gandharvas, and they sing the Krishna's pastimes in the Goloka.
Yes. Yes.
That position they got, right?
Very good. Yes. So they got the position of two boys in Goloka Vrindavan by the name of Snigdhakant and Madhukant. And their duty was to every evening without fail, get everybody together, all the citizens of Goloka Vrindavan, including Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, etc., and they'll sing the pastimes of Krishna that happened in Vrindavan. So Krishna, Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, Radharani, everybody sat and listened to Krishna's pastimes every day in Goloka Vrindavan. That's how lovely, how attractive these pastimes are. So we are doing the same thing. We're listening to these pastimes again and again and again, and we keep finding something fresh, something enjoyable, and of course, very, very, very purifying by listening to these pastimes. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to mention this again. The reason I decided to do this pastimes before starting Srimad Bhagavatam is to hopefully get us to a point where we are feeling real attraction for listening to other pastimes of Krishna and Krishna's devotees through the medium of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so now it is 9:30. I'm going to stop to see if there are any last minute questions or comments.
Prabhuji, I want to have a add little. In Gopi Gita, gopis themselves are said that Tava Kathamrutam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Bhiritatam Kalmashapaham. Those pastimes are actually for us to because we are so exhausted in these material activities. And those pastimes are giving us peace, calm effect on our hearts. Like these, there was singing in Goloka, but those are for us also.
That is correct. That is correct. These pastimes, Krishna comes down for us. He's so concerned about all the children of his. He wants us all back in Goloka Vrindavan. So he keeps coming back, doing all these pastimes. The more we hear, the more we chant, more we discuss these pastimes, the more purified we get, and the chances of our going to Goloka Vrindavan increase manyfold. And in the meantime, it's such an enjoyable experience to listen and narrate these pastimes. Matchitta madgat pranam bodhyantas parasparam. Katyantas mam nitya tushanti charamanticha. Krishna says, and my devotees, they love discussing my pastimes. They get their satisfaction and their enjoyment from these pastimes. That's what we're doing. Okay, any other questions or comments? Sorry, Gautam, did you have your hand raised? No? Okay, sorry. Anybody?
Prabhu, when Krishna was down in Bhulok, who the Vrindavans were, they were praying, which God? They used to pray, they used to give aarti and all that. So to whom they used to do that?
Yes, so that's a very good question actually. Yeah, so in the age of Dwapar, the worshipable deity was Lord Ram.
Okay.
And Lord Hari and Lord Narayan and Lord Vishnu. Those are the personalities they worshipped. Okay, because remember, Lord Ram came in Treta Yuga, one age before. So everybody knew about Lord Ram. And of course, Lord Narayan, Lord Hari are always there, Lord Vishnu is always there. This is why when Garg Muni was naming Lord Krishna, he was saying he has the qualities of Lord Narayan. Everybody understood that. And every time Mother Yashoda offered a prayer because Krishna had just killed a demon, she said, Lord Narayan saved him. So they were all worshipping. Similarly, in last Lila, we talked about Krishna Yashoda was Narayan, and they all recognized who that is. So yeah, so those are the personalities being worshipped at that time.
So they were like, हिंदी में बोलती मैं, वो पुण्य है इसीलिए they are serving the Krishna उस जन्म में बोलते हैं ना प्रभु जी. So to whom did they do that? So they got this punya that Ma Yashoda became mother of Lord Krishna.
So understand, did everybody understand the question? Draupadi Mata maybe didn't. Let me explain that. She's asking, did these devotees perform some pious activities because of which they got Krishna as their son or as their friend and so on and so forth? So the answer is no. Pious activities can never get you Krishna. Pious activities can get you heavenly planets, but not Goloka Vrindavan.
Okay.
So most of these people are Nitya Siddha, eternally liberated. They've always been with Krishna. In the same roles, role of a mother or a father or a friend, a servant or a gopi, they're eternally servant, eternally with him. So they come with him. Then there are some other people like the sages of Dandakaranya, the Vedas personified, etc. They become gopis. But most of these people are eternally Krishna's associates. Other exception is those pure devotees for whom it's been decided they need one more birth and that's it. So they go take birth wherever Krishna's pastimes are going on, and they learn the training from the gopis or the gopas, and they become trained for Goloka Vrindavan, and then they go there. That's it. Otherwise, they're all eternally liberated, eternal associates of Krishna. That you and I can never become Yashoda. There's only one Yashoda forever.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Sure.
Prabhuji, can I say something but without the video because I have to read it from the phone?
Yeah, of course. No worries.
So as Mataji asked the question that which god Mother Yashoda was praying to, so there is a prayer that they say that Mother Yashoda used to recite this prayer every day for protection of Krishna. It is like, my dear Krishna, may the Lord who is known as Aja protect your legs. May Lord Maniman protect your knees. May Lord Yajna protect your thighs. May Lord Achyuta protect your upper waist. May Lord Haigriva protect your abdomen. May Lord Keshava protect your heart. May Lord Issa protect your chest. May Lord Surya protect your neck. May Lord Vishnu protect your arms. May Lord Urukarma protect your face. May Lord Ishvara protect your head. May Lord Chakradhar protect your front. May Lord Gadadhar protect your back. May Lord Madhusudan, who carries the bow in his hand, protect your right side. May Lord Ajna protect your left side. May Lord Urugaya protect his with his conch shell protect you on all sides. May the personality of Godhead Upendra protect you from above. May Lord Tarkashya protect you on the ground. May Lord Haldara protect you from all sides. May the personality of Godhead known as Rishikesha protect all your senses. May Lord Narayan protect your life airs. May the Lord of Svetadvipa, Narayan, protect the core of your heart. May Lord Yogeshwara protect your mind. May Lord Krishna Garbha protect your intelligence, and may the Supreme Personality of Godhead protect your soul.
Great. Thank you. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
So
it
they are
is.
basically
So
the
there.
forms of Lord Narayan.
Yeah.
Most of this was saying, and they have their own planet in Vaikuntha Loka.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she was praying to them.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Anything else? Okay, so then we'll wind up today. I will meet next Thursday, and actually next I think it's Sunday. Sunday is the Godhan Puja. So next Thursday we'll talk about Godhan Lila. Excuse me. And actually, I should have talked about the appearance of Radhakund because that's this Sunday. But the reason I postponed that was I wanted to make sure that we are all in the mood of serving Lord Damodar. And that I hope everybody is chanting the Damodar Ashtakam every day. And I hope you're offering lamp. It's very, very critical that we are all offering lamp to Lord Damodar. You should have a picture of Krishna being born by Mother Yashoda at your altar. If not, you can get it from the internet. And you should offer lamp at least once a day. And you can get the prayer if you don't have Damodar Ashtakam also on the internet. Chant it once a day. So as you offer the lamp, chant this bhajan. So hopefully you are already doing that, but if you're not, you should. That's this whole month is about that. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare
Oh, there
Krishna,
you go. Yeah, this is a
Prabhuji.
picture of Jai Radha Damodar ki Jai. Damodar
Jai.
Lila ki
Damodar
Jai.
Lila ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you so
Hare
much,
Krishna,
Prabhuji.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
कल्पतरु च कृपा सिंधु च पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna to all. Thank you so
Hare
much,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you.